The State Department divides countries into consular districts. And in the old days, there used to be either a consulate or a consulate general. A consulate general is a bigger operation because of what it does and the amount of territory it's responsible for. So I had everything from Spain to Italy, north to Lyon, France. And then I had Corsica and Monaco. And so I was responsible. I was Mr. America in that area.
Yeah.
For family reasons, I took early retirement. And I'd always wanted to get into entrepreneurial activities. I'd worked for big companies, and I wanted to get into something small or maybe something I could do myself. I have always been in boating, and so I started a company to import marine equipment, pleasure boating equipment, and my good friend was Richard Schwartz, who established Boat US. And Dick and I knew one another from before he ever got involved with Boat US, and so with my international background, I began to source products for Boat US had stores then. That was before they sold to West Marine. So I began to locate products that had significant product characteristics or price points.
So what would be an example of a product?
Well, one of them was a line of inflatable boats that I found in Yugoslavia, and they were terrible things. The company in Yugoslavia had been selling them all to Russia, and they just put them out the door, and nobody ever heard from them again. But the quality was unbelievably bad.
Oh.
They had no UV resistance in the rubber, and the plywood wasn't marine grade, and I mean, it was a disaster. So I was able to work with that firm, and we brought that quality up to US standards, and it ended up being Boat US's principal price line inflatable.
Oh, really?
So we began to import them by the container. Owners decided they wanted to cash out, so they asked me to find a buyer, and I ended up finding a buyer, and we sold it to a paint additives company up in New Jersey. So that left me without anything to do, so I got involved in commercial real estate in Anne Arundel County. Well, I was doing that when we came over here, and I found that and that was when the recession was still on.
Oh.
So I decided to get back into the marine field and set up as a manufacturer's representative, and got about 8 or 10 lines of products and began to market them to retailers around the area. And then I began to lose my balance and mobility, and I had to give it up.
Oh.
I couldn't continue it. And so I began to think, well, you know, I'm just not going to sit around here and bay at the moon or something. So I was sitting at my desk one day, and I had a bunch of boating magazines on the floor, and for some reason I had this idea, well, I know that there are probably about 30 boating magazines around that are worth reading. And they all have different attitudes and different objectives, but that's about what there is. And I thought, well, if somebody's going to stay informed on the boating field, media or industry or even a boat owner, maybe they could use a reader's guide, which would list the articles. And so this is the result. I review 22 boating magazines, and every other month put a list out of the major articles in the magazines. this is for people who want to know what's going on in the boating industry. And if you read these over time, they provide a moving picture of the boating industry.
Yeah. So you must have always felt like you were an entrepreneur.
I've always had that itch.
Yeah. Is it just kind of curiosity, or?
I'm Dutch.
Oh.
I want to put a word in for Heron Point, which is a great place. We do like it.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Yeah.
And the people. That's it. That's it.
Yeah. Makes a huge difference. Well, thank you.